Great Scott.
Great Scott.
Great Scott.
Hello everyone and welcome to a continuing episode of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V and now we continue our discussion on the Snyder cut of Justice League. They once did something called the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. I was so excited that I sold all of my cuts of the original Superman 2. I had the remastered Superman 2 version, and I also had the box set of the 4 films. Most people, let me not speak for most people, I was probably never going to watch 4 ever again. I did recently go to the drive-in theater and started to watch some of it. It wasn't as bad as I remembered, but I didn't get to Nuclear Man because everybody was falling asleep. So our plan is to watch it again at home, though no one's clamoring for it because in this day and age it's difficult to get people to sit down and watch a movie when they can, click on their phones and watch 30-second clips that they laugh at over and over again, even though they're the same clip. Perhaps I shouldn't complain because I've been talking about Superman for over 350 episodes now, and I've been enjoying Superman adventures since I was 3, and I'm now almost dead. So I guess I've been enjoying the same thing for a long time in life. I sold my Superman 2 Blu-ray, and I sold my whole box set because I planned to buy the Blu-ray of Superman the movie, and I was going to get the Richard Donner cut when it came out. I was so excited. It was going to be so much greater than people had talked about it for years and years. Then it came out. Now, most people that I have talked to have praised it and have said it is much better film than the Lester cut of Superman 2. I personally just don't see it. A lot of the music cues were done by a different music person. A lot of the music cues we grew up with and we pumped our fists to when Superman saved the kid over Niagara Falls, or the whole Paris scene was cut in favor of the nuclear missile exploding and releasing the Phantom Zone criminals. Now, this may make more sense because it's a much more powerful explosion, and people complained that a small bomb on an elevator being pushed out into space from Paris by Superman probably wouldn't free them. But then again, why would the Phantom Zone piece of glass happen to be floating over the Earth at the time that any explosion was going off? The Phantom Zone really has never been portrayed as a thing that moved around, although I guess there's no reason why it couldn't. And in that series, the idea was they got trapped in some sort of a dimension that floated around space and looked like a flying mirror that they screamed in endlessly for not hundreds of years because Superman was only
over 21.
When they were released, it was either by an elevator in Paris exploding or it was by a nuclear missile. And in the Richard Donner cut, it was nuclear missile. The weirdest thing, when they released the Richard Donner cut, of course, there was unfinished footage. There was strange screen tests. There was Lois jumping out a window and Superman using his super breath to carry her to a hot dog cart or a fruit cart. Some of the stuff was very absurd. Some of the acting was bad because it was unfinished. They maybe did some versions of scenes and that's all they had to put together with the Richard Donner cut. I don't think they put much money to the project, but some fans were looking for it, so they did it. If we get something like that with Snyder's Justice League, I think it's going to be another travesty, much like the movie version of Justice League was. My understanding is they have decided to allocate at least $20 million to the project, which if you look at movies, that's not a whole lot of money. There's also rumors that it will be more, upwards of $50 million. If scenes were shot and just didn't have many effects, my understanding is some of the actors have already agreed to come back and do some shooting. Hopefully they won't have mustaches. If they're coming back for either very little or no money and they can use that budget to finish scenes unlike they did with Donner, there could be a possibility of a whole different movie here. Donner was a slightly different movie. There was some things done that were a little bit different, and of course we got the same exact ending that we saw in Superman the movie, which would never work, but my understanding is that the endings were meant to be different, but since Donner left the project and never finished, both movies were being filmed at the same time. The Lester cut of 2 was what we got, the ending of 1 was what we got, and then when they, 20 years later, released the Donner cut, that was what we got. There's no way you could put them together and call it a cohesive story because it ends the same way. Not exactly, but he turns back time in both, and you wouldn't do that if you were making a series that was together. We've seen a trailer with Darkseid, which a lot of people are excited about. We're out of time again. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember to tune in next time when we continue this discussion and we move on to Snyder's new version. Remember, always look up in the sky.